Everyone, this is KP bringing you another KP Talks video. I'm here with the legend himself, Ryan Chen, Viridian. You may know him. What's going on, Viridian?
Hey, thanks for having me. No, we got a spoiler for you guys.
Yeah. We'll save the spoiler for the end. Would appreciate if you listen to our discussion, but I totally get it if you zoom to the end. And we'll have um the direct image posted probably in a Facebook comment somewhere or something for the websites and stuff. So, um, but yeah, we're here to talk about the current meta, San Diego, the spoilers we've seen, and is there something else? Maybe.
We got a tier list. I don't know if you'd
Oh
like
yeah,
to
yeah, the
mention.
tier list. Yeah, how did I forget about that? Okay, yeah. Okay, so you went to San Diego, right? What deck were you on?
I did. I ran back Chaos Arc, Mono Earth Chaos Arc again. Very similar to the deck I brought to Chicago. The only difference was I got knocked out by Knights, so I put a Vincent in my deck because I hate Knights.
Vincent, which oh the
It's the
backup Vincent.
backup Earth. Yeah, it does 5k on ETB as a backup, so it can snipe Gawain or Laswell, which is usually how I
That's
lost.
interesting. Sure. What you still? Oh, because you
I
lost
cut my
to
I
Dory,
lost to
right?
Dory, and I had to play Cat the round before, so I actually played back-to-back night rounds
Yeah,
in Chicago.
yeah. Well, I mean, to be
And
fair, I do think that Vincent's actually like not bad right now. I think it's actually pretty decent.
hmm
Um, pretty.
Damage 3 kills Rifia.
I mean, I've been for fun at locals playing Magisa every once in a while, and then sometimes I do kill their forwards with my backups. Like the 5K does matter. Um,
Right.
yeah, that's kind of interesting. I know we've had this talk. What do you think Mono Earth Chaos Arc is the best Chaos Arc deck? At least
I still think
currently.
it's yeah, I still think it's the best Chaos Arc deck.
Okay.
The biggest reason why I keep playing this deck is because it has I guess compared to the other Earth Lightning, or sorry, the other Chaos Arc decks that I've played, which are mainly three, the Earth Lightning Chaos Arc. That deck has like a really good late game. It has, X Death, Man in Black, but quite a weak early game, as well as like the removal is pretty conditional. Like Odin's only hit 5 or less. Exodus hits like one number. It's pretty so like that stuff kind of makes it quite a bit worse against Wall 7 decks and Ice decks in general.
Okay.
As well as Chaos being existing means if they steal your Exeth, like or they steal your Man in Black, you are so dead. Um, the Earth Water Chaos Arc decks that you've kind of played. They're powerful against ice aggro, but the reason I don't like them is I feel like the forward count is very low, and then I'll end up milling myself against some of the grindier matchups like Wall 4 or sorry the Refia Wall deck or Mono Water. I'm pretty scared of those. And like the main reason I like the Mono Earth deck is it has a very good backup plan for like those matchups that the Earth Water deck struggles with. You can play
Okay.
bunch of 9Ks, Leo and Warrior of Light at the risk of weakening the good matchups that you have, which is mostly the ice stuff.
Yeah, I've talked about this in my Chicago video. My big question was, is Mind Flayer worth it for my version of the deck? Long story short, no. Right? There's a little grief in there, but it's there's grief, but it's fun, right? And that's what the game's kind of about. And I also don't have much to play for anymore, right?
Right.
I've already got my buys, like my invite, like so. And also like in theory, if you want to be like realistic, there is a lot of good cards to hit with Mind Flayer, and the thing that drew me in with it was the the majority of decks out there have water or earth backups, which is in theory your like worst hit, right? So you could still play them and use them for CP instead of having like a off color backup that you don't want to play or whatever. So it wasn't the
Yeah.
worst, but uh, I think I agree with you. I definitely think the Mono Earth version is better. However, I mean, you can say this about the Water Earth version, but as well. But I just really don't like playing a deck that relies on too many backups at the moment, and it's been like that for me for a while. I mean, like I'm the versatile player, right? Um, but like there are just times, I mean, it's variance, right? It's rare, but it does happen where you have no backups or one backup, and that's not enough. That's where cards like Shinryu are obviously very good, but like you don't have Shinryu, you have Chaos Arc. So the recovering process is like kind of difficult, I feel like. Whereas like if like mono water that requires, mono water decks sometimes get stuck on one backup, but drawing a Shinryu gets you to three backups sometimes, like
Yeah.
you have that kind of out. Um, I find that kind of stuff a little more acceptable, but I do think that in a meta, if there's like time to draw out of it, I think a deck like Chaos Arc kind of comes back. Do you think that? How do I word this? I'll just start with my hot take. I don't think Chaos Arc is currently a good deck right now. Is it? Can it win a tournament? Can you play it? Yes, but my mindset is the reason to play Chaos Arc is to beat the multicolor decks and generally speaking, to beat aggro decks because you're a control deck, right? And if you can't
Right.
do that like consistently, then why play the deck, right? Um,
Hmm.
and I feel like right now it's not consistently, it's 50-50 ish. And that's what worries me with Chaos Arc. What do you think about all that?
So back when you first started your whole statement, and how you said like the weakness that you thought the deck had was too many backups. I actually thought you were gonna go somewhere else, and you said like the deck is too reliant on Leo, which was how I lost in Florida and how I lost in San Diego.
Hmm.
I had lost all my Leos, and then like I lost my Warrior of Light Power, some of the other good stuff in the deck.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think that the multicolor matchup in terms of like good player versus good player is not actually Chaos Arc favored because of the existence of Zidane
Okay.
and Lev 6. If the four color player does like just plays backups and then does Warrior of Light into Zidane, he's gonna take both of your dark card, like all of the dark cards he can get,
Hmm.
and then whenever you do end up chaosing him, if you get to do that, Lev 6 gets rid of your chaos and gets back their presumably one of their good cards because their whole deck is just good cards back to their hand, and then you're like pretty far behind. Um, I guess like in terms of your hot take of whether or not it's a good deck, I still think it's like a good deck because it does very powerful things. And if we
It
say like
does.
this
Yeah.
kind of deck is not good, then like I don't know what you would consider a good deck. Like Refia deck,
Yeah.
Vault 7.
I guess.
Like it's the best out of. It's like not the best deck, but it's still very good. I think.
Yeah, it does unfair things, right? It's one of those
Yeah.
things. Me to saying it's a good deck is probably not a fair way to describe it. Like, uh,
Would you say good as a 6 out of 10?
I was waiting for it, bro. I was waiting for it. Um, I thought it was seven, but it is
Seven
six,
out
isn't
of
it?
10.
I don't
I
remember.
don't know.
But I guess my point is if you're aiming like look, Chaos Arc is unfair. You're playing, that's 20 CP worth of cards. You're not paying 20 for both of those cards. You're I don't know, paying five, three sometimes. Like you're not paying anywhere near the amount that the cards have on the written on the card, like the mana value, the CP value, whatever. Like, but if you're losing to I'm saying best matchups, right? I don't know if that's the way I look at it, but on paper, it's your worst matchups in theory are your monocolor matchups, and your best matchups are your multicolor matchups, right? Um,
Right.
but if you're losing to your multicolor matchups, then that kind of makes me feel like the deck's not in like well positioned right now.
Um, counterpoint.
Okay.
The deck is very fun. So it's a very toolboxy deck. Like just the fact that Ingus
Yes.
exists. So you have a lot
Yes.
of decisions you can make with the deck, which is just makes it more fun to play.
So
I'm not gonna comment on whether it's
counterpoint.
like the best or not.
Uh, my version of the deck is also uh toolboxy because I have Thornton.
Yeah,
Haha.
well, that card sucks.
All right. Okay. So, what do you think about the meta? And Mike Powell in San Diego. Um, He knocked you out, San Diego, right?
He
If I
did
recall.
in
Yeah,
top four.
yeah. All right, I gotta dagger you for a second. How's it feel losing to him twice in like serious competition, bro?
Uh,
Does it
he's
suck, bro?
he played very well in San Diego, so
Yeah. Does it bother you at all? Is it because for me, losing the same matchup twice and to the same person and for like the highest of stakes, right? Like that kind of stings for me.
I was more like I think at the in the moment I was annoyed that I lost because game three I like lost all my Leos by turn two or three.
Yeah, like variance
So it
got
was
you.
not like a very like it was like we had some good games, but it was like at the point where I think we're both like very good at our decks, and we both figure out like pretty optimal lines. So in our matchups, it was like kind of like what deck like game one he got to do everything that his deck wanted to do. Game two I got to do everything my deck wanted to do, and they were over like
Yep.
pretty relatively quickly. And then game three was kind of like one sided.
Okay.
But it's fun like playing at like high level games, where it's just like neither player making mistakes. No, it's just fun. I don't mind that much, I guess.
Okay. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the best decks in the meta right now? I mean, it's kind of obvious. Wall 4 is up there, right?
Yeah, I think Refia Wall is the best deck in the format by far. It's just
Ooh, by far, huh?
I just think it has if you're really good, you'll hit your EXs. So of course it's the best
But
deck.
this guy,
Some of the best players in the
this
in the
guy.
game.
Oh
It's
man.
very consistent. I would say the
Whoa,
only
whoa,
two
whoa,
decks.
whoa. Okay, I disagree with that. But go. Okay, I'll let you finish.
All right, and then the only two decks I think like it's very tough because there's very few decks that can go under it, which I think is Wall 7 or Knights.
Okay.
Sometimes you hit a burst and then you still win anyways. And then on the other end, I think what can go over it is like a Chaos Arc deck and a Mono Wind deck. But like I don't as I said, I don't even think it's like that super favored for the Chaos Arc decks. And
Mm-hmm.
Mono Wind also struggles against the decks that the four color wall deck does. It has less burst too. So
So the reason I personally, and I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, don't the reason I personally don't play a 4 color wall is because I think it's inconsistent and it's very clunky. Like everybody can agree, the backups are so clunky. Like you need like the savior is the 4 element wall, right? It color fixes you. Um,
right.
if if you don't have access to that card, or let's say you don't draw a wind card for King Tycoon, I know you don't need wind, um, but it helps with the flow of it. You got to draw pretty well, and your backups are kind of derpy backups until you get fully online. Also, there are some situations where like even if you have King Tycoon, like let's say you draw like Sarah FFL King Tycoon, that you can have two water backups and a wind backup, and that doesn't always play all your cards. Um, and that's what shies me away from the deck. However, like you said, like EX bursting, that's like there's a lot of bursts just naturally in the deck. And a lot of them are like catch up bursts, and also damage 3 is kind of ridiculous in the deck.
Yeah.
Uh, and it just does some of the best things in the game right now. Um,
It's very tough, like when you like you if you're playing an aggro deck, or let's say you're like slightly behind and you're dirtling, right? And you're like, well, you put them to damage three, then they'll start arcing you or ferrising you, and that's like a very very powerful thing. So you
mhm,
don't feel super good attacking them. And then if you hit like a Lev 6 on the way, or like a Kusith, or even like a Kukulane, draw card, like their deck, their top end is really high because they can do Warrior of like once they fully get set up, they can do like Warrior of Light plus Refia on the stack of the untap, double tap with the Warrior of Light, 10k something,
mhm.
Refia tap, like and then you can also attack like on this like before you tap with the second time with Wool. Um,
Yeah,
I do think a
like
lot of people, I do think a lot of people like slightly think that the deck is a Warrior of Light deck, like in terms of four color wool, but the deck is actually just a Refia deck. So as long
yes.
as you get like three Warrior of Light backups, like you don't have to play four colors. Like the Warrior of Light is not your main game plan. It's being able to spam Refia over and over again.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that, I mean, I don't know the percentages, but the 4 color wall is probably your like fourth best card in the deck, maybe. Like I don't know. Like it feels like I mean, Arc, Refia, and Ferris. are definitely better
Yeah.
than it, right? I mean, maybe Zidane's better than it even. Like I don't know. Um,
It's probably like the best card in the deck, not for the reasons everyone thinks it is, but just because you can actually pitch it to pay for any backup.
everything. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, I was gonna mention something else. I lost track of it. But yeah, that's like the main. Oh, a lot of people also, um, you mentioned like getting the damage 3 and then taking over the game kind of a thing. Like the people try to combat it by getting them to, like, people think they can get to damage 2 on them and then wait and then try to like kill them in one turn, right? Um, not all decks can do that very efficiently, and also they have Bosch. They have access to Bosch, right? Like there's a
Yep.
chance they just Tyro for Bosch, and then like, what are you gonna do? Now they're gonna Bosch for Ferris, and then everything goes crazy. Uh,
Yep.
so that's not always a good line, also, but I think that's just like a general line of play that people think about is get him damage 2 and then stop, but that's not always a winning line. Uh,
Right. You kind of just have to send it.
yeah, you have to just hope that you can beat them before they fully set up, kind of a thing. Now
Hmm.
it depends what deck you're playing, right? Like,
Right.
the Wall 7 FF8 deck that I played, I did get them to 2 and then wait because I mean Gilgamesh can attack 3 times, right? Like, so that's a little bit different. But I bet a lot of Wall 7 decks can probably do something similar where they can actually take that risk also because they have Wall 7 special, but not I don't think Knights can do something like that. I don't think any other aggro deck can do something like that. Uh,
Yeah. The wall
it's
7
just
special
risky.
matters so much, like
Yes, it
for
does.
preventing the Refi attack on their turn.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of Wall 7, what do you think about Wall 7 right now?
I think it's really good. Very unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, do you think Wall
it,
7's unfair, or do you think like Axstar is unfair?
well, I think Gilgamesh BE is unfair, and the deck kind of sucks
Okay.
without Gilgamesh BE.
Okay.
Another deck that's enabled by Wall 4, being able to Sarah FFL for the light card and the 4-color card means, sometimes you can just turn 2 Gilgamesh, but most of the time it makes your Gilgamesh at least online for the Dull Freeze
Yeah.
by turn 2.
Yeah. Okay. What other decks do you think uh would be good, like are good in the meta, I should say? Do you think Knights is still up there?
Yeah, I think Knights is still good because it can, like, I feel like there's not very many decks without like a strength or a weakness. And I think the aggro decks really want to beat the 4-color wall deck, or at least be able to go under them. And I think those two are the only ones that can like consistently go under them.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to go over it, it's just Chaos Arc or play 4-color wall. And then you have like a couple tier 2 decks. I think like Mono Water is probably at that tier. It can beat like Chaos Arc and uh, the aggro decks, but it can't beat 4-color wall.
What about Mono Earth? Like non-Chaos Arc.
Uh,
What do you think about that deck?
I don't think it's good enough. I don't think the Shinryu helps. And because people have realized how to play around Tidus,
Mm-hmm.
it's like much worse. Like in fact, most of the time I don't even like really cast Tidus anymore. I'm too scared of getting blown out by like a Mott or like a Kukulane.
Yep.
So I've actually cast Tidus like less and less as the set goes on. It's still like a really good
Same.
option, but it's
Same.
not like I'm too scared of losing the game instantly.
You can only do it when they have like one card. Like even one card sometimes scary. Like
Yeah,
it just
yeah. Like, is
depends.
it a Kukulane? Oh, I might lose.
Yeah. Um, what about any other monocolor decks? Are those
uh,
is
I,
it just Earth and Water, and then if you're feeling it, Wind?
yeah, I think Wind is probably up there, but you have to be brave.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can't think of any other mono deck that matters.
Okay.
Not, I didn't say matters, but like it's like I would believe we could win a tournament. Can't really think
I
of
don't
one.
know. I mean, well, wait, Portland is the new set, isn't it?
Portland is the new set, so we
Ah,
have two more.
dang.
It's Canada and Texas are going to be this set.
I was gonna say you could bring out, you know, I know there's a lot of mono lightning gamers that go to Portland. So, but I mean that's a different set, so who knows? Okay. Any other thoughts about the meta? We can move on to a different
Well, I don't think there's anything.
topic.
Yeah, we can go on.
I will say, Mike doing, phenomenal job this season. with basically the same deck in every tournament. That's kind of, and the other thing too is that like there are a lot of like 4-color wall players out there, but if you look at like the top cuts of a lot of these tournaments, it's not that many of them that make top cut, but he's consistently making it. Like I don't know for sure if it's he's always the furthest one, but like he's, you know, a consistent furthest player in a lot of these events, and that's
I
he's
think
kind of running away with it.
him and Sydney are probably like
Yes,
the
the
most
two.
consistent
Yeah,
4-color wall players.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think he's definitely the best. He's definitely obviously the most impressive player this season, right? Two Materia Cup
yeah.
wins, top 8 or top 4,
Top
top
four.
8, and like a couple of LQ wins. He won another one yesterday
Yeah, he won
actually,
two, I think. Yeah,
so he's killing it.
yeah, and his two losses. I don't know how much this matters. It's just interesting to me. The two times that he didn't win in a Crystal Cup or Materia Cup, he lost to the winner. Like he lost to me in top four, and then I won. And he lost to Tori Kelly in top eight in Chicago, and then Tori Kelly won. Like
Yep.
so that to me, I mean, does that matter as much? Not so much, but like that's interesting to me because it's like he's when he does lose, he's losing to the winner, right? So
Yeah, he's losing to good players.
yeah. Well, you call me a good player, bro?
Good player singular. Good job, Tori.
Oh, dang. All right. You wanna go over the spoilers? You wanna do a tier list?
We can do a quick tier list.
All
I
right,
think
all
they're funny.
right.
They're very funny.
So for reference, oh man, they reset the. Let me I have to resize these. For reference, for the viewers, every time a new set comes out, we do a tier list. Some people rate every single card or cards that they think will be played. Some people just rate some of them. Because like some people look at it as like drafting or not drafting or however, right? Um, but here is what we
Shout outs to NATO
have.
for always uploading the images to the tier
Yeah,
list maker website.
yeah. NATO, you're a Chad. Um, okay. So, I you cannot. Oh, I guess you have the images, right?
I do have the images. You're
Okay.
just putting them side by side.
Yeah, I have them side by side right now.
All right, good enough.
Okay. So, it's funny to look at this because like the set's kind of winding down, um, and there are a lot of opinions on like I mean, little. Let's start with Little Leela actually. A lot of people that we talk to put Little Leela in S tier because it's a dark card and it's going to be in everybody's limit break deck. Um, I found that kind of not a fair assessment. The reason it's in my S tier is because I did think it was a good card. Not because I didn't put these here because of how likely they were to be played. I put them here because I thought they would be like when you play them, they're powerful and in the right shell, right? Um,
Yeah.
not
So for me,
necessarily how popular they were.
there were a couple things I put like how I rated my tiers. Like, obviously how strong the card is currently, how I thought it would go in the future, as well as how much it's going to be played just by sheer number, which is Little Leela is in my S tier because I don't think the card is super great, but I do think it's going to be in every single limit break deck. So I was like, fine,
Mhm.
S tier.
It's funny because I
Uh,
feel like it's not in every single limit break deck either, you know?
Now it's not, but at the beginning I thought it would be. Right? I was like, it's a free include, right? It's a dark card. Everyone
Okay,
can play it.
do you see anything off the top of your head that is kind of outrageously wrong that you want to talk about?
Um,
My S tier looks kind of good to be honest.
my S tier is quite awful. This is why I thought it'd be funny to bring up.
Yeah.
uh,
I think I have
I
one
do.
bad one.
I think the S tier that is not on neither of our lists is Leo. I think that card is
Oh, yes.
definitely just like the best card in one of the best cards in the set.
Yeah, where did I put it? I put it in B tier. Oh, that's bad. Where'd you put it?
B tier as
You
well.
also did it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we probably thought drawing a card's not, you know, it's whatever. It's a good filler turn, which it is, but like it does everything. Like, it's something your opponent has to kill. Actually, I'm looking. Your A lot of your A tier is kind of my S tier in a way too.
There
It's kind
have
of
been a
funny.
lot of games where I'm like, well, I'm screwed. I'll play Leo to dig, and that same Leo does like 3 damage,
Yeah,
and then even after my opponent's setups, this is mostly in mono water for context. I'll attack again. I'm like, what are you gonna do? If you block this guy, I'll play Shinryu, and then like kill your board. So it's like this Leo's so powerful. He does like
yeah,
4 damage sometimes.
yeah. Okay, what do you think about Montleonis right now?
I think it's gate kept by Mono Fire not being the best.
Okay.
Um, Mono Fire. If you've ever played against Knights, you kind of just get run over. You're a deck that kind of needs to set up backups to exist. But then late game, you also can't beat the Warrior of Light deck because Warrior of Light generates like too much value for Mono Fire to beat.
So, do you still think it's an S tier card, but its moment isn't right now, it's in a future set kind of a thing?
I think I would rate it a little lower. I think you're right that Jacked is the actual real S tier for Mono Fire, and yeah. But like Mono is still very good. It
Yeah.
just has a lot of weakness, like the Amaterasu weakness, the Mist Dragon weakness, the setting up backup weakness is still present though. Whereas Jack is kind of just like this is a really strong budget. It's not even a budget Ash, but it's like similar to Ash, right? It's like kill a guy.
Yeah, it's funny because like Jack is even making appearances in decks with a low backup count, like Magissa, like where
Yeah,
it's still because you can Minwu it still. You can like search for it with Bosch or Alphano and play it for 0, or even playing it for 1. Like it's still very good. Um yeah, I'm a very big fan of Jacked. Uh okay, I have Sephiroth in S tier. I definitely don't think Sephiroth is an S tier card. What do you think?
I don't think so either. I've played a lot in a couple decks, and most of the time it's either kill something on their turn or it's discard a card. I've
Hmm.
not had much opportunity to do both, like the card intends you to
One
do.
time for me. That's it. I played a lot of that card.
Yeah.
Um, okay.
Are
So
you
I
still as high on the Cat 8 stuff? Because you have that stuff
yes.
still in S and A.
Yes. Okay. Fujin is obviously the worst one. And I if I were to run back my Wall 7 deck with FFA stuff in it, I don't know if I'd include Fujin. Like there was one in that deck. I the first strike just doesn't matter. It doesn't. The milling doesn't. I mean, the milling does matter, but like the impact isn't worth playing like a 2-drop do nothing. That's the way I look at it.
The
But
best part is when you
Cipher,
have Raging on board to give it haste, and then
yes,
it's 2
when
damage.
you have Exodia, right? You already have everything. That's when it's good. It's like the cherry on top kind of thing. Uh,
Mhm.
but Cipher, I believe in. It does sometimes suck that you have to attack, and then if they miss dragon you in response, you just most likely lose a cipher, right?
Right.
That's really bad. But I still think that's a powerful attack trigger. It's a thing of like they have to answer this in some way. If they don't, they're it's gonna take over the game. So I do like Cipher. Adia might be like amongst my favorite cards now. That card does so with combination of Cipher, like Adia search for Cipher. If Adia dies, you can Cipher back Adia, yada yada. Like, and so for a while, people would say that like Palanpor and Meridia were like the planeswalkers of the game. I'm adding Adia to that. That's kind of my statement. It's something that's like every turn, it's a removal spell, and it's I mean, similar to Palom and Porm, like you can do it during combat. So literally, if you just don't use it, you in combat you win the majority, like 99% of combats, whatever you want. So
By
that's
that logic, is
huge.
a Robo Aqua also a Planeswalker, bro? He just says get back up every turn.
No, I think
I'm
that's
just
a little
kidding.
different.
I know Edia definitely terrorized limited for that exact
Yeah,
reason. You can't win combat when that
yeah.
card exists.
And then Raijin, I mean, gives
He's
Cypher haste.
good.
That's literally all it's for. But like Adia, there are so many like good FF8 cards to search for with Adia. And then also uh it being a Sid Randall out that mattered
Yes,
in
that
my
matters a lot.
deck. I don't know too much about like the actual FF8 aggro decks. The Ice Lightning ones or the Fire Lightning ones, I don't know too much about them, so I don't
One of
know.
my locals, Jeff, also teammate, has played a lot of the Mono Lightning Cat 8 deck.
Okay,
And from what I've noticed, it has been kind of powerful, but then sometimes it cannot beat Ramza Gorilla Start. There's no removal in Lightning that is efficient enough to beat that.
okay,
As well as, if you hit some EX versus bursts against like Mono Water or like Warrior Blade, you will just die.
okay.
But it's still like powerful, right?
Yeah, I can't say too much outside of winning combat and being a Sid Vandal out about Adia. But those are two like pretty big ones. The new Ultimecia, I am that is like a D tier card. I don't believe in it. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's except the issue with that new Ultimecia is Adia is just better in every scenario. Like Adia is just always better. Uh, Also
I think
in like the higher, like if we're talking Versatile for a second, the old Ultimecia is just better. The ice one,
nice one.
yeah. But maybe you play them both and go ham. I don't know.
I
What
think
are you gonna say?
another miss I was gonna say is I think Surges has been an S tier card for me.
Oh yeah, that's a
I did
huge
not
miss.
rate him like anywhere close.
Yeah, put him in A. Um,
I don't even know. I put him in C. I was like, yeah, it's
yeah,
whatever. It's
I
so good.
it's very good. Like the fact of like a lot of, not a lot, but like a good amount of decks can have like a Cloud Surge's turn, and that's like a huge tempo swing.
Right.
Uh, or like same thing. Even Victoria Surges is same thing. Uh, Reagan. What about Reagan? We both. Or you put it in B tier. I put it in A tier.
Yeah, so this was the Soiree saver, right? It turns out it did
Yeah.
not save Soiree.
No, it didn't. Uh, I felt like the best thing to Reagan out was always the new Lena, and
Yes, agreed.
nothing else. Which you put in S tier. I put in A tier.
So I had thought the Lena was going to be insane in like an Earth Water deck because I can play Shantoto and then I'll just have it online.
Hmm.
And what ended up happening was I was never able to play Shantoto before I drew my Lenas, and then I just died anyways, or it like never mattered. And then like the
Okay.
best deck I had it in was just like the regular four color well good stuff without the Refias. It was just like okay in that.
Okay. What do you think about Minwoo and Kursame? And then also, I guess the new summons.
So Minwoo is like cracked if you give it haste. Like if you have a Goblin or like a Belias, or if you're able to cheat it in with Minkies on your opponent's turn, it's like super good. Um, Outside of that, it's like kind of medium. Kurasame is like super good and like if you can get to like a late game deck or like two slow decks fighting each other. But I think Mono Ice has a weakness where if it falls behind, it's most likely losing.
Hmm.
And then the new summons, I don't think any of them matter. I like the Odin because it killed Refia and Rufus.
Okay. Do you think so?
um,
You have Anima and S. Do you think
oh,
Anima? Well, let's start with this. Do you think Anima is the best of the new summons?
I think so. I think it's just the generically the best one.
Okay.
I thought Anima was going to be really good in like the Earth Water a mill deck style, like similar to what you had, even without
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Chaos Arc at the beginning of the set. Um, Turns out it was like kind of slow in that I felt like I was not able to get my backup set up that quickly. And then I didn't need it in Mono Water. And then because Warrior of Light became a deck and that they're spamming Refia, I'm like way higher on Anima again because I need to RFG the Refia or Wall or Zidane. But I still don't think it's like an S tier card.
Okay. I guess I got two more questions since I know you played with these cards a decent amount. What do you think about the new Noct, and what do you think about the new Gilgamesh?
So I remember when they previewed the card of the week and they showed the Diana, I thought the card was whatever, and you said it was like an S tier broken card. I played with it one time and I was like, yep, he's right. This card is really broken. Nact is like a worse. Like if there were no Chaos or Arc, I might play Nact as like a top end card.
Hand
Um,
emoji.
Yeah, hand emoji. But like the fact that Knack loses to Kukulane or like removal is still pretty bad. It's a very cool card though. And then you have to play. Also, I had to, when I first read this card, I didn't realize you had to get one different Warrior of Darknesses. I thought you could get like two Dianas or like two Albas, like
Yeah,
based
three
on what you
different
had in your
names.
deck. And that's not true. And then I definitely cheated week one.
Well, card's a lot better when you're not doing what it says.
Yeah, yeah. Gilgamesh. I don't think Gilgamesh is that good. Still, it's a nice answer to everything, but it's just like way too expensive.
Okay.
And you can't do the combo. Like they printed the Enkidu, so you can like do Gilgamesh and Kidu, but I don't want to do that in Earthwind.
Right.
I want to do Luso.
Okay, I found two more cards I want to talk about, and then we can move on.
Sure.
What do you think about the forward Yuna?
Oh, I really. So that was a card I really liked. I talked to Mr. Cool about it, and I think I might have talked to you about it, and
Yes.
you guys both thought it was like. I know Mr. Cool definitely
Not
thought it was like
great.
very not very good.
Yeah.
I forgot whether you were high or low on
No.
it.
I tried when you said it was good. I tried so many different decks, and they all did not. They all fell flat.
I thought it was very good. So back before Kansas City, when the meta was like completely new, I
Hmm.
was able to like play, like a piranha or like a monster, and then like be able to do that Una Titus turn. And I thought it was very good. But as the set has gone on, because Warrior of Light exists and he can 5k Una on the stack, I don't think you can play this Una consistently.
Yeah. So what I was doing, this was probably the most fun I had with the Yuna. It still wasn't good, but it was fun. Was playing a water wind deck, and like there's a scenario I played against somebody at locals where I played the Yuna, and trigger on the stack they killed it because they didn't want me to like get a summon back when I play Tidus, right? That makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, I played a Lulu to get back my Yuna, played the Yuna again. Now my Tidus costs
Oh,
one, and I limit break the Tidus for one, and that was kind of absurd. Um,
it's hidden text, by the way. No one knows you can get back Una with the Lulu.
yeah, I know. And like the double reduction, that's kind of that doesn't happen very often in cards. Something else that people in Ice Wind, this some Ice Wind gamers might know this. Um, like Sid Hayes, reducing the next card by two, right? And then Shinryu, like they stack their cost reduction stack, so you can cast a zero CP Shinryu if they have like four
Huh,
forwards.
that's funny.
Yeah, so that some interactions like that happen, but they're pretty rare. Uh, so when they do happen, because a lot of times one of the cards say they can't be zero or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my purpose of the water wind deck, because I played the unblockable Tidus as well, but I also played three Sahagin Chief and three Chocobos. So I was like, well, I'm gonna chip in for a little bit and then bounce my three drop Tidus to limit and then limit break instead.
Right.
I never did that once. I played like 15 games. I never did that once. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
this deck's probably
I
not
also thought
great.
I thought I would play the 3 CP Tidus as well, and then the 5 CP was just always too good.
Yeah. Okay, and the last card, you mentioned it, Piranha. Sell me on this card, bro.
Piranha. Well, it's good if your opponent doesn't have interaction. It's the same problem as Yuna actually, where Warrior of Light exists mostly.
Mm-hmm.
But Piranha being able to be a cheap card that you can enable your Tidus is still relatively worth it in mono water. I would say.
So if you were to run back, so you played both Yuna and Piranha at the Kansas Crystal Cup.
Yes.
If you were to run back one on water, would you still play both of them?
I would not, unfortunately, just because I tried playing it versus Jeff in
Mm-hmm.
preparation for San Diego, and then he just like destroyed me with the Warrior of Light deck. Just like
Gotcha.
these two cards were just useless.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, any other
Spoilers?
comments on these, you think?
Uh,
You think
no.
I think we did
Oh
okay.
wait. Would you rate the little Earth Summoner as S tier still?
I did. Oh, would I?
Yeah.
I think it's very good, but I don't think it's anywhere near as good.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
it's
same.
Oh, the issue is Earth backups are really good. um,
Yep.
and there's a premium on backups that search for backups, so it's really hard to fit this card. Um,
Also, breaking your own backup is like kind of rough sometimes.
yeah, I think this card only currently will see play if you need a million Mist Dragons, or if you need even that. That's still kind
Heck
of
three, of
rough. Heck
course.
three, yeah, that's
Of
it.
course.
It's literally that. If the meta turns into you need to heck three them, then you just play a bunch of these cards. But that's so narrow. So in that case, God, the card's so sweet though. I'd probably put it at a B if I had to re-rate it
Yeah.
now. Like I'd put a lot of these FF8 cards above it in terms of playability.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. Um, okay. I will. Let's see. I'm gonna hide those. Let's talk about some spoilers. Um, do you have them?
Yeah, I
I
have
have.
them, yeah.
Okay, I have a picture of Hope on the screen right now. Uh, this was spoiled. Was it Thursday? Card of the week.
Yep.
It's first.
First
Yeah,
card of the week.
yeah. And I know a lot of people that I know went crazy over this card, but I think this card is just exactly medium right now. Because math wise, it's currently kind of equal to Vanille ish, but repeatable. But also, this can be Ahmad and you get blown out. You can also compare this to like Emmett Selch, the starter one that puts it back up into play, whatever. Now all that stuff's kind of not exactly fair because, and it's also a different color. It's color shifted. Um, and a lot of it's not necessarily fair because like hope, like let's say you hope for Vanille. That's just like if you played the 4-drop Pope to get Vanille to your hand to play it. That's the way I look at it. Now in that scenario, the 4-drop Pope is purple and it costs one more to do all of that. But this hope also can get a backup, which I think is kind of what I'm leaning towards. And the current backups, I'm not. We need help. That's the way I look at it. I don't believe in this
What do you
card
mean,
until I
bro?
see more
Nora was bought
backups.
out, bro. What do you mean? Nora was bought out.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, full Nora's stonks.
Yeah. I
Um,
think
what do you think?
I think it's more of like like it's not like a Turbo 13 card. I know you brought up like Vanille and stuff.
Yeah,
I think it really wants a payoff. Like the best payoff we have right now is the Fire Bahamut summon
sure.
in Fire. And then I do think that if you play this Hope, you really want to play the Lightning backup that can give any 13 forward haste. So you can like do it
So would you
twice.
play a 3-color deck?
I might just do Lightning Wind. Yeah, I don't know. The other forward that I'm looking at that actually benefits from it is the Noel, the Legend. If you're
Okay.
not at damage 3, you can haste it with the backup Lightning
Oh,
because you're
okay,
basically
sure.
there already. Um, I
I
don't know.
gotcha.
Lightning Wind. It's still not there, I don't think, compared to some of the decks even this set, but it's cool to think about.
All right, I gotta say it for my fans out there. What about Luminous Puma? This card could search for Luminous Puma, put it into play.
Yep. 2 backups for a real card. It could also, if you play Ice, you could also play the 3 CP Sarah that says draw a card if you have another 13 character on board or something, and
The
then
draw
discard.
discard one?
Yep. Yeah, the draw this and
That's
discard one.
interesting.
So that's a good way of recruiting value as well.
Yeah, I know some people in global Discord were mentioning like you can hope for snow and then snow for lightning, um, as like a pseudo extender kind of thing. That's I don't know how good that would be, but that's something I guess. 1 forward turns into three.
Yeah, this is definitely a card that has future playability. Like, even if it's not this set, if the game goes long enough, like it'll probably be good at some point.
Yeah, I think so too. Um, I I'll say this too, and maybe this is pretty cap. I don't believe in the activation ability. I only believe in the ETB.
Uh, yeah, I think you'll be. I do believe in it. It's like a must. I don't know if it's a must kill, but it's like an engine, right? Which is pretty good.
Yeah. If like mono wind, for example, like I could see a world where they just print a bunch of wind FF13 character like backups and you turn like look, I don't want to like talk about bans and stuff, but like if we go away from Luso Storm and we turn into like a Hope deck that gets 5 backups from Hope, I think that'd be pretty kind of cool, right? Like that would mean you have to kill the Hope, or else you're gonna get set up from this one card over and over.
I
Um,
did not think about that angle, but is that any different from like the old Fat Chocobo deck? Like, isn't Fat Chocobo still better?
it might be, but unless like 13 character, like maybe they make more 13 characters that are monsters or forwards that, after you get your backup set up, now you can start getting forwards. Um,
You can also get Layak with this card. Actually broken.
yo, Kobold Droid.
Kovoyoid.
Yeah. Yeah, this card's interesting. At the moment I'm not currently sold on it, but in the future maybe.
That's
Uh,
two relevant jobs as well. In terms of like all the new good ones are Ravager slash Lissy, so there might be potential job synergy in the future.
sure. Okay. Next one, Luna Freya.
Uh,
So this was
uh,
a hot topic card when we talked about it. Do you want to start? You want me to start?
I could start. I think I'm more negative on it than you in terms of health of the game.
Okay, sure.
I think it's like way too powerful of a card in terms of like you can always have it in your limit break deck.
Mm-hmm.
Cost wise, it's about the same as the 4 CP Wind Arc. It's like flip and then add a non-wind card. Same thing. And then this one has like the bonus of if you hit a flip a burst, you get to use it right away. And not only do you get to use the burst, you get to add the burst back. Like you still get to add the card to your hand. So it could be like a 3-for-1 kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is like too good. And specifically the decks I'm thinking about would be Mono Water or the 4-color Wall deck because they both play Lev 6. The Mono Water deck also plays Ash, so you can do Luna Freya, flip Ash, kill something, play Ash, kill another thing, end with 2 guys.
I don't want to. I don't like playing cards like this, but I know some people do. Do you think people like mono water, just specifically mono water? Maybe even like water lightning or water earth, I guess. Do you think they will play Remora now because of this card existing?
I don't think so because the cost of Remora is too high.
Because like in
First,
theory, if
like,
you hit the Remora on here, you're drawing
sorry, I
another
meant
card.
the cost of Luna Freya is too high.
Okay.
I think you've been in a lot of situations where you're in like top deck mode. And it's like you draw for turn, you pitch one of the cards, play Luna Freya, then your Remora does 4K,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. Yeah. My take on this card is look, there's a ceiling to the card, right, and it's extremely high. It's outside of Love 6 though. Like I don't know anything that's crazy. Like Thornton? Question mark. Like everyone's gonna probably think like Tyro, right? More realistically, not Thornton,
Yes, Pyro.
but I'm saying Thornton because like Thornton is more narrow and not like Tyro's better than Thornton. Long story short, but like in general cases, but like I'm looking at this as like a lot of times this is a draw card, and then your burst is draw another card. And if the draw another card is search for any card in your deck, is that still good? And then the ceiling probably being Love 6, right? Um, 3 for 1ing, and then like having a body in play. Uh, and then the floor is not hitting a burst. Like you're
Floor is Arc, yeah.
just drawing a card. Um, and to me, the floor is very dramatic. And I think I'm gonna see anybody do anything with mono water recently. Let me. Oh,
So
Chocobo Joe played. Oh, that's
the thing
Warlight.
I
Sorry.
do really like about this card as well is it kind of fills the niche not it's not a niche, but fills the slot in mono water or water LB decks in general where Leo is like almost always good, right? Like you play it early, you draw a card. And like
Yes.
late, it's okay. I think if I'm in the mid game though, I'd much rather play Luna Freya because I can like select which card I want.
Yes.
Tidus, of course, you can't play early, so it's like the late game card. But now you have like 3 options, right? You do Leo in the beginning, you do a Luna Freya in the middle, and then Tidus if you're like winning. So I do like that you get the diversity of the
Yes.
situationalness of
That I
the
agree with.
LB deck.
I agree with that like completely because I guess the easiest way for me to say my take is I think this card is extremely risky to play unless you're on 4 backups. Like if you play this on 2 backups, I'm not happy because the
Yep, I
card you're
agree.
adding to your hand, I'm assuming you're gonna add a burst. How many water backups or bursts? There's very few. Um, so I mean, Thornton's one of them. I mentioned that, or like Merweb. What Leonora maybe? Like I don't know. And even that's is that worth it? Like I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but off of 4 backups, I think that's really good. And if we're playing this off of 4 backups, that to me, generally speaking, means the game's kind of slower, and maybe it's okay for something like this to exist. Uh, and in that also scenario, Lev 6, even if like the 3-for-1 possibility of that, I feel like is a lot less relevant ish because if it's a slower deck, how many slow decks have lighter dark cards that are like traumatic to like the situation? Uh, I mean, yes, people play Shinryu and Chaos Arc and stuff like that, but like, I don't know. I just think that in that kind of scenario, it's acceptable. But what I'm actually this card, look, I treat this card. What did I put in Discord? 7 out of 10 or something. Like it's, I don't think it's busted. But what I'm worried about is, and maybe I'm over worried, is that they're gonna burst. They're gonna buff EX bursts. That's what I'm worried about.
Hmm.
Because right now, it's basically the thing that sells me is just Love 6. Everything else, I don't know. I look at it as okay, you're drawing 2 cards.
Yeah,
uh,
I think I basically think the only EXs that not matter, but like I would feel very bad about is Left 6, Ash when they have 4 backups or 5 backups, and Tyro.
mhm,
I know you mentioned Thornton, but I don't like Thornton in any deck.
sure.
But like those 3 cards, I think are they're the ceiling.
Yeah.
As long as they don't print anything better than that, right? Then I agree.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to Venat.
Okay.
I don't think they've posted in like a actual card version of this in English, but on their Instagram they released an English picture, and here it is. I need to reread this card.
Yes. For
Um,
reference, we've had this card spoiled for a long time, but
yes,
now
and
we're
it was in
trying to evaluate
Japanese.
it based on the current meta, I think. Now that we have
Yeah.
an idea.
Okay, so base value, if this card lives, it turns into a Thornton.
Everything's a Thornton, bro.
So I'm gonna yeah, everything's a Thornton. Um, I need to find out this card's name. I feel bad for not knowing this card's name. Ingle something.
Engelbert.
Is it
Sigurd.
Engelbert?
It's Sigurd, I think.
No, no, no. The light guy that gets 2 crystals.
Uh, It is Engelbert. What
Ingle. Oh,
the
I typed it wrong. Yo, this is like a power creeped Engelbert. I
heck?
feel bad for Engelbert, bro.
Which did not see play.
I know, yeah. Maybe for like one tournament in somebody's deck. Um, yeah, so this card is like when it's in so when you play it, you get 2 crystals. It becomes a card that like you have to remove, quote unquote, or else they get to search for anything. This in a way kind of translates to me as like warp one. It's in
Yep.
play, but like they have 1 turn to remove it. And you also, unless you give it haste, you the payoff is you have to wait a
One card.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is like it's searching, but it's also like, is that worth the light slot in your deck? The way I'm looking at this card is not for its actual ability of crystal search for a card. It's the double crystal part. And then also in a crystal based deck, maybe you can use this ability twice. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then it's kind of cool that it has this built-in pseudo protection. If they do uh destroy it, you can destroy something of theirs. And I mean remove it even. I don't know. Like obviously I feel like my first instinct is this goes in like a water deck, but how is this better than Shinryu? I don't see that. So unless there's like a better crystal payoff or like massive ways to generate crystals more than what we already have, I don't see it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think this is a card that you really want more than one in your deck. Like even if all things go right,
Yeah.
if you draw extra, it's just dead. Um, for me, the power level is about the same as like Xenos a couple sets ago, the dark card. Like it's good
Oh,
sometimes.
sure. Yeah.
Like I think they're like about equivalent power level.
Okay.
I think the main problem with this card is just says when it gets put into the break zone, you may pay, but like there's ways of tapping it. You can tuck it with Refia, you can bounce it. It has no haste. So like even using the payout, like the built-in pseudo protection is like not even guaranteed.
Okay.
So I'm also not high on this card. Don't really see it.
Glaciella stonks.
Glaciela.
That's about it on that. I feel like I maybe I wonder what it would take for me to play this card though. Oh, I will say, uh, it's probably a cube all star though.
Oh, this card's insane in cube.
Yeah, I bet this card's like absolutely a house in cube. It's like, oh, I
Like
can search. Like you can also search at any time, by the way. So like you could like offer a trade. Like they attack on the 9K block, and then you search for a card, and then trade, and then remove it. Like,
I also do think you have to do it on their opponent's turn because if you do it on your turn, you lose your blocker.
yeah,
So that's also not great. Doesn't
yeah,
have vigilance either, or brave.
brave, yeah, yeah. Now, unless there's like a easy way to give this card haste, even that, like, I don't know, light and dark. I have to be like very convinced that the card is like absurdly strong to play them.
It's really just Chaos Arc and Shinryu, I think.
Yeah, right now, yeah. Okay. Speaking of cube and limited, let's do your
Ooh,
preview card here.
great.
Yash Tola. Sorry, Ishtola. Here we are. All right. 3 drop 7K. When Ishtola enters the field, choose up to the same number of forwards opponent controls as the job sign of the seventh dawn you control. That wording is kind of weird.
I
Dull them.
thought there would be the word character after that, like every other one,
Yeah, forward
but
as job. Yeah. But I
a
mean,
little
it
strange.
is
I would.
character, but it's not. Yeah.
That's like the most interesting part of the card to me, the way they phrased it.
Yeah. So for every scion you have, you dole that many forwards.
Up to.
Um, up to, yes. Uh, thoughts? So I think we both agree this is a very good limited card, assuming there are more scions, right?
Right.
Uh, but in constructed, there are so many goodies tolas. There are so many. Uh,
I think so
hmm.
the one thing I was able to think of for constructed is like the mono lightning decks or like the lightning water decks where they play the 3 CP Y'shtola that can shrink someone.
Yes. And then
Uh
special for
and then
9K.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is an in color Y'shtola that you can easily play. Whereas like fire lightning Y'shtola you can't super easily play,
Hmm.
or like wind Y'shtola, they're like only revivable off Alisane, you can't really play them. So I think that's like the only thing I can think of.
There's one other thing I can think of, but it's funny because it's in Fire Lightning, like Xenos, right? Like, what if you played this Ishtola and then attack with Xenos? Like give your guys haste or whatever. Like you dull their whole field and then all your guys gain haste. Maybe have a Hien turn with it too. Maybe just go ham, right? But
Right.
in that case, that makes this Ishtola kind of like a Bahamut Zero esque effect. But I don't know, man. Like the Fire Lightning Ishtola is already kind of filling that role in a way. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, I wonder. I'm speculating. I wonder if they have. What if they bring back? Oh man, what Papalimo, Ida, some of those Earth ones from before? What if they like make new ones of those in purple, and they're like still 2 drop, 3 drop, whatever, and maybe they're aggressive. Like I don't know. Like I know this is like a huge reach, But I'm just trying to find a play like in our current card pool. I don't really know if I could see myself playing this card, but it it's definitely a powerful effect, but it's an extremely narrow effect, and that's what I'm worried about.
I think you would not mind playing this card if it weren't named Y'shtola. Like if it were like a
Probably.
fan
Yeah.
credit or something, you might just play one of in your deck.
Yes, I can
But
agree
the
with that.
fact that this is Y'shtola is like very annoying. Um,
Yes.
yeah, not much to say.
Yeah.
It's really good in Cube, assuming they print like 2 Scion backups or even like 1 or 2 Scion forwards. You'll be able to like kill your opponent a lot of times with this. Like just a Bahamut 0.
I even I could even see like, in the Scion decks you can like Alisay this back from your discard pile, right? And that's just additional Scions on the field. It's
Yeah.
just, in that scenario you need to give your guys haste. So like how are you doing that? Especially because the other Y'shtola give like tap a Scion, give a
Yeah.
Scion haste. Like that's what that card does. So unless, actually, what if they print a Scion that says like ETB, give all your Scions haste? There's no way they do something like that, right? There's no way.
Yeah,
But
it'll be
if they
called Y'shtola,
did,
bro.
yeah, if they did, that would make this card way better. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we need to ask for a lot more help for something like this, but I mean,
The very big. This is
it is
also a very
powerful.
big buff for title players and trying to do the
Oh
light
my
win
god.
con. It's another
Yeah,
another Scion.
true. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about that. It's just there's a powerful effect and a narrow effect. It's just the name clash, I think, is too rough.
Yep.
All right. I think that's all I got. You have anything else to say?
Well, thanks for listening to us ramble. For people who actually watch the video.
Oh yeah. Um, Thanks everyone for watching. If you have any ideas or opinions, feel free to comment. And if you have any thoughts on what you'd like to hear being discussed in the future, feel free to reach out and I'll take a look and maybe have a little KP talks about it. Until then, thanks for watching and catch you next time.